Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Where in the World Do You Teach? And we are thrilled to bring this show back to you this fall. And right now, we are going to be speaking with Monica Larson. She is speaking to us all the way from Norway. So, welcome, Monica.
Hi, thank you very much, Vanessa. Thank you for letting us be a part of this show and to share all our good experiences from Norway with all of your viewers.
So the purpose of our show, the purpose of this show, for those of you who are just tuning into this show for the first time, I'm Vanessa Levin from Pre-K Pages, and we started this show here on the Facebook page because so many teachers around the world of early childhood are isolated in their classrooms, right? We're with our children all day long in our classroom, and so all we know is what we see in our room or our school. And I think it's really important that we learn about classrooms around the world and how things work so we don't get stuck in our ways. So we started doing this show last school year, and we've had teachers from Italy, and we've had teachers from Alaska. That was a fun one. And so now Monica's joining us from Norway. And when she reached out to me, I was super excited because, as many of you watching know, Norway is in the news a lot here in the United States because the media tells us they have an excellent educational program. And all we know is what the people on the news tell us. But that's why I was excited when Monica reached out, because we can actually talk to a real teacher and get the inside scoop on what it's like to teach in Norway. So, Monica, go ahead and get started and tell us a little bit about where you work and the school where you work.
Yeah, thank you. I am currently the head of Kongsberg International Preschool Hus. That's a small town in Norway, and we are an international preschool. We have children in the age of 1 to 6 years old, and we're part of a larger chain of kindergartens in Norway. We have over 170 kindergartens all over Norway, and 2 of them are international kindergartens.
Very good. Excellent. So, so are you considered, because things are so different here in the United States, we might need a little information on how education works in Norway. So here in the States, children enter public school, that's school funded by the government, at the age of 5 years, and we call that kindergarten. And then anything prior to that could be anything called preschool, it could be called pre-K, it could be called just about anything. And sometimes it's offered in public schools and sometimes it's not, and it really it depends. So how does it work in Norway? Do parents pay to go to your school, or is it provided for them, or tell us how that works?
Yeah. In Norway, we start with kindergartens or preschool. We use the same word for the same institution. It's the kindergarten. I'll try to refer to it as that. The parents only pay a small amount for their children to attend here, and the rest is supported by the government. Children can start in the kindergarten already at the age of 10 months. And they can attend until they start school. In Norway, they start school at the age of 6. Wow. That's in first grade. It used to be 7. It was reformed in 94, 97. I think the change came that the 6 years old started school. And now there's this big movement in Norway trying to change it back. So having the 7-year-old children also attending kindergarten.
Wonderful. I love it. And generally speaking, I don't know if there's a rule for you, but here in the States, One of our big challenges here in the States is the number of teachers and the number of children in the classroom. So, as an early childhood educator, that young children require lots of attention. So, we have problems here in the States with what we call ratio, where there's too many children and not enough teachers in the room. And it causes a lot of problems for us, as you might guess. So tell us about your teacher to student or student to teacher ratio in Norway.
Yeah, sure. We have just recently actually gotten it ruled in the law. We have an own kindergarten act for all the kindergartens in Norway, and in that act, from 1st of August this year, it has been ruled that it has to be one kindergarten teacher per 7 kids under the age of 3, and one kindergarten teacher per 14 kids over the age of 3. And also there has been decided that from 1st of August next year, in addition to the kindergarten teacher, there will also be another staff, or one staff per three kids under the age of 3, and one staff for the children over the age of 3, and that's 6 children over the age of 3 requires one more staff. That's usually how it's been practiced in Norway, but it hasn't been a rule yet. But another thing that I find really interesting is that now there's this big movement in Norway where all of the preschool teachers and also a lot of parents has gotten engaged and trying to raise the amount of staff in the kindergartens. And so we feel that we are in the middle of a change now in Norway, improving the staffing. Normally now on the small kids department, you will see normally 9 kids and 3 adults, or 12 kids and 4 adults.
Wow.
And that's usually how it's been. So it's really exciting to see the changes going on in Norway now and see what comes out of it.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love that your country is embracing the higher teacher to child ratio so that the children can be served better. That's fantastic. Because we're not fully publicly funded here, that's a struggle that we have because a lot of the schools can't pay for extra staffing. So the rules really vary from state to state and school to school. It's very, very spotty, and it causes a lot of issues for teachers. So in these kindergartens, what time do the children usually, what times are they open? Like, we think of school traditionally here, public school is like 8 or 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock. But then we have our childcare, which is open pretty much 12 hours a day from like 6 to 6 or something like that. What are your hours generally speaking?
Generally speaking, in the big cities in Norway, the kindergartens open around 7 and closes at 5. Mm-hmm. In the smaller cities and outside, I think the opening hours will be a bit shorter. And of course, that means that we only are full staff from around 9:30 till about 2:30, and then we are doing shifts during the day. But we talk about the core time in the kindergartens. That's usually from 9:30 till 2:30.
Okay, that's great. What do you think about this? Is something that the media here in the United States has told us a lot about, and I want to hear it from you as a citizen of Norway. Are teachers of young children in the kindergartens in Norway respected by parents and the public in general?
To some level or some degree, but not as a preschool teacher. I don't feel we get the respect that we deserve. It has been going on in the preschool teachers' education for a while. The professors are encouraging us to speak up about the work that we do to increase the status of this occupation.
Yes.
No, that's not the right word. I'm sorry. But yeah, about the profession that we do. But you can also see it like pay-wise. We are well paid, but comparing to other professions, we do not get the respect and the acknowledgement that I think most of us feel like we deserve.
That's a great answer. I think that a lot of us here in the States can definitely relate to that feeling of not getting the respect you deserve, but it's fantastic to hear that you are getting the pay that you feel you deserve. There could always be an increase, and those kind of things. But here in the States, we have no respect and very, very low pay. Our early childhood teachers generally make less than the workers at McDonald's or other fast food chains. So a big difference there. So that brings me to my next question. What kind of certification or degree or whatever do you need to teach in a kindergarten in Norway?
We have several. Sorry, I forgot the word. We have several levels of education. A kindergarten teacher, a bachelor's degree in early childhood education, and then you have the child and youth worker. That's optional in more of the kindergartens, but that's a 1-year study. And then you have the assistants, and it's not a required level of education to be an assistant. And also every head in all the kindergartens needs to be educated, have a bachelor. In some cases, you can file for an exemption, but that can only be done for 1 year at a time.
That's a great answer too. And I think that's part of the disparity between our two countries, because here in the States, the pay is very low, but the requirements for certification or degrees are also very low. And if we could just increase the requirements, then I think we would see the pay increase, but there's this disparity there. So that's great to hear that your country has embraced the fact that early childhood teachers need to be well educated, because that's how they serve the children well. That's great. How many days a year are your kindergartens in session? Are they year round, or do you have any kind of breaks, or what's that like?
We are open more or less the whole year through. Some kindergartens are closing for some weeks during summer, and some are cooperating with other kindergartens to try to stay open. But we have to reduce the staffing because of vacations. I was speaking about open. Most of the kindergartens are open through. Some chooses to close during summer, some are closed during Christmas, and some during Easter. But we are open more or less the whole year through. We are also, all kindergartens have 5 planning days during the year where we are closing for the children and educating our staff.
Great. That's always good to know, because continuing education is so important. One of the things that we have heard about here in the States on the news a lot is about the focus of your, what we would call a curriculum. A lot of your focus in kindergarten, from what we hear, you can tell me if I'm wrong, is on play. And what can you tell us about play in kindergartens in Norway?
Yeah, I think that's a really exciting question, because to answer that, we have to look at the history of the kindergartens in Norway. The kindergarten started as like this storage units for the parents just to put their children in, and you can see that over time, from pretty early on, we started focusing on educating the staff in the kindergartens. And during a short period, I think it's from the 1940s, 50s, it was just only 1% of the children were attending the kindergartens. Now, almost 100% of all the children in the preschool age are attending the kindergarten in Norway. So that's an amazing amount of children. And with that, we are also concerned about what to offer the children, how to best provide learning for the children. So we have been focusing a lot on play, and see the connection of how the free play develops the children's brains, and also how it affects the social skills that we are. It's pretty hard to teach the children the social skills when we as adults only set the frame. Children are sitting by a table, so on role playing and free play and the kind of play in the kindergarten that's child initiated, we can support that play and make sure the children are developing the skills that they need in the future, like the social skills, like the complex problem solving. We were having plan day on Friday, and I was talking to one of the professors that's been really known in Norway. Her name is Kari Pape. I don't think she has ever written anything in English. I wish she did. In this development, where in the 20 years she has been researching in our field, she can see how the grown-ups have gone for just like watching the free play, not engaging in it, but like stopping the conflicts when they are happening. And during the 20-year period, she can see how we are now more focused in actively participating in the play. And that is because our growing focus on free play and its role for the children's development.
That's fantastic. I think the general consensus here in the States, I think that we're moving more towards that free play in our preschools. And I think that it's a shift that we're slowly making. Change is hard for us here because we're so large, and the way the system is set up. But I do believe in general that we are moving towards that as well. So that's fantastic. I know that one thing that we hear a lot, and I don't know if this is from the news or from, it's a very politically charged season here in the United States right now. But one of the things we hear is that in Norway or in Scandinavia in general, they have what we consider an amazing maternity leave. Here in the States, if a teacher in a preschool wanted to take a maternity leave, she would get maybe 6 weeks, and her husband would get nothing, and that's it. So tell us, is this true? Do you all have an amazing maternity leave plan there?
I think we do. I think most of us will agree on that. I had to write it down because I don't remember it all in my head. But Norway is a welfare country. We are all paying about 36% of our income in taxes, and the taxes we pay are spent in different ways to make sure that we have a welfare. And one of those things are maternity. As you are addressing, the fathers also get paternity leave in Norway. When the way that this is split between the parents is up to the family itself to decide. But the rules that are set is that the mother will have 15 weeks of maternity leave. The father will have 15 weeks of paternity leave, and then it's up to the family to decide how to split the rest of the weeks. And the rest of the weeks will be either 16 or 26. That's depending on what kind of a coverage, or economical coverage, the family has chosen. So you can choose to have your income replaced either with a 80% coverage that will give the family a total of 59 weeks of leave, or you can have your income coverage at 100%, and that will give you 49 weeks.
Wow.
So I do believe that we have good, yeah, we have a great system for maternity and paternity leaves. And another thing I really like about this is that it's also open for adoption. The same rules applies when the parents or the family are adopting a child. It applies to same-sex couples and also single parents. And I really like how it's put up so that families can decide themselves.
That's fantastic. That is so amazing to us here, and wonderful for you. I have one last question before you had some information to share with us. What language do you teach the children in when they are in kindergarten? Do you speak your native language, or are you teaching them in English, or is there a mix?
In our kindergarten, we are an international kindergarten, so traditionally we spoke English. And now, as you can hear, my English is far from perfect, but I'm still learning. But over the time, we have felt like we have English-speaking children, we have Norwegian-speaking families, and we also have families who doesn't speak either at home. So we have decided that the best for us for now is to speak both English and Norwegian. And that can be quite confusing at times, but we are a small unit and we know each other well, so that works really well for us.
Yes, that's wonderful. Now, all of these fantastic things that you've been telling us, one of the reasons you reached out to me, and I think this is really interesting because I think a lot of teachers here in the States would be interested in this, is that you have openings in your school. Tell us about the opportunities that you have at your international kindergarten right now.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning it. We are, yeah, as I previously mentioned, we have had a new law from 1st of August that says something about that we are increasing the numbers of preschool teachers in our kindergartens all over Norway. So of course, all the kindergartens in Norway are hiring or looking for good preschool teachers. We are, normally in the Norwegian kindergarten, there is a law that you have to speak Norwegian. We are an international kindergarten, and we don't have that requirement. So I'm looking for ways to get a hold of adventurous kindergarten teachers that are ready to try something new. So we are we are currently hiring. If any of your viewers, if I might say, would find this as an interesting idea to explore, you are free to contact us through our web pages. It's www.fus.no/KIP for Kongsberg International Preschool. And I would gladly. I think the best thing about this is that we are now in to learn something new, and we're always open to learning something new.
So would these opportunities be available for somebody who doesn't live in Norway, for somebody to come from another country to do that?
Yeah, it's totally, and that's why I think we are also applying through the UK. So we are totally open to preschool teachers from another country. It might take a longer time because the education will have to be approved by NOKUT. That's an organ in Norway that takes 2 months. But of course, we are ready to talk to applicants outside of Norway.
That's fantastic. I love it. I taught in Seoul, South Korea, so I fully embrace the teaching abroad philosophy. So I hope that one of our viewers would appreciate this opportunity to see your beautiful country and experience the Norway educational system, as we've heard so much about here in the States, and to work with a fabulous person like yourself who seems very excited and dedicated to her field. So yeah, I think that would be exciting. I'm in no way affiliated with her school, with Monica's school. She just reached out to me and I said, oh, I would love to talk to somebody from Norway to see if what they say on the TV is true. So that's how we met. And yeah, I'll put a link to your website for folks below in case they're interested in that, or they can share it with their friends who might be interested and up for an adventure. But yeah, I think this has been very enlightening and eye-opening. And does your school year run from January to January, or you said you're pretty much year-round, right?
Yeah, pretty much. We say that the kindergarten year starts in August, and then it usually ends around June. And the reason why we say it ends is that we don't have any pedagogical or educational program in July because of vacation. But I have to say, Vanessa, I am so glad and I'm so thankful that you prioritize it and take your time to talk to me, because talking and preparing for this conversation really makes me proud of what we are doing and how we are doing it. So I really appreciate.
Yes, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to do this with us. And if anyone out there watching teaches in an interesting place out there in the world, let me know, because we do this show every now and again. I'd like to do it 4 times a year if I could. And we've had some great guests from Alaska, from Italy, and now from Norway. So get in touch with me at Pre-K Pages if you'd like to be on the show. And I want to thank you so much, Monica, for joining us today. And I think our viewers got a lot of great information. I just think that early childhood teachers love to learn, even if that's learning about other early childhood teachers across the globe. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you you too. Thank you for a great program and for a great the great pages that you have made. It's really helpful, and I really enjoy the forum, the place where we can meet other preschool pages. Sorry, I'm too nervous and to be right.
No, that's fine. She's talking about preschool teachers are superheroes. I guess that's where she and I originally crossed paths. So that's our free Facebook group, where we now have 36,000 teachers from around the world sharing ideas. So yeah, thank you so much, Monica. And I will see all of you here again on the Pre-K Pages Facebook page soon. Thanks for watching and have a great night. Bye.